Hi YouTube, welcome back to The Edge of Here. Happy Monday morning or afternoon, 12:38 p.m. on September 18th, 2017 on the west coast of Southern California. You know the drill, I curse, and if you can't handle it, please leave. Um, so in more news with Suze and dealing with Ericsson, there is so much going on with that company. I filmed like an hour already. I have to redo it because I have to break it all up. And it's just crazy. It gets insane. And by the time I get to the 5G, we might not be human by then. But I wanted to show you the little glitchy thing that I don't know if anybody's noticed. If you take your mouse on a PC and you move it to this bar here, see how things are, yeah, weird, huh? I noticed this the other day. Well, I noticed this like the day after people thought weird shit was happening to videos, and I didn't know if anybody had noticed that before. So let's get on with the show here, and I'm going to show you. The next video is going to go into the history of Ericsson because it's that crazy. It's that crazy. But before I go into that, we're going to do a little bit of history on the 103-year-old car phone that Ericsson created. This is a news article from Wired from 2013. The curious case of the 103-year-old car phone. And here you have a photo owned by Ericsson, a glorious high definition photo. Yeah, it looks like it was taken yesterday. Let's read. You think the mythology swirling around Apple and the iPhone is impressive? The ghost of Steve Jobs ain't got nothing on Lars Magnus Ericsson. Yes, it's Lars Magnus Ericsson. We will be talking about him much more in the next video, but this is funny. As the lemmings line up across the country for their golden Apple communicators, and the pundits hail the new iOS 7 mobile operating system as a work of otherworldly Ivian genius, let's take a moment to remember the late, great Lars, the Swedish founder of the Ericsson radio and telephone empire. The history books will tell you that in 1910, on a farm in Sweden, more than 3 decades before Steve Jobs was even born, Lars Magnus Ericsson invented the world's first car phone. Okay, now, before I go further, I need you to remember this date, because this year, because when we get to the bottom, you're going to see how strange this really is. By 1910, Ericsson had retired from life as a telecommunications mogul. Oh, wow. Yep. I'll touch on this when I go through the history, but yeah, can you believe that in 1910 you're able to retire as a telecommunications mogul? Just saying. By 1910, Ericsson had retired from life as a telecommunications mogul, retreated to the Swedish countryside with his wife Hilda, and turned himself into a farmer. Some 10 decades before growing your own food became a cliche among the tech elite. I've never heard that called a cliche among any tech elite before. It's a fucking vegan prepping shit hits the fan thing. And if you don't want to eat GMO, even though the soil in the air is contaminated, whatever. As explained by John Meerling and Richard Jeans, author of the Mobile Phone Book, The Invention of the Mobile Telephone Industry, Ericsson equipped his car with a phone that could hook into the telephone lines running along the side of the road. After he parked and Hilda pulled out her sticks. Yes, April, we virtually have the 2 tin cans and a wire or a string. There were 2 long sticks like fishing rods, handled by Hilda. Sounds like divination rods, you know how they find water. No, they're finding electricity. She would hook them over a pair of telephone wires, seeking a pair that were free. I don't know how that works. I think this is a typo. It should say, the book reads, when they were found, Lars Magnus would crank the dynamo handle of the telephone, which produced the signal to an operator in the nearest exchange. In his book, Constant Touch, A Global History of the Mobile Phone, University College London professor John Agar describes Ericsson's car-carried phone as an historic milestone. I think it should be a historic milestone. Ericsson's vehicle showed that the technologies of communication could be fitted in an automobile, the first instance in a long and profound association between two technologies of mobility that have shaped our modern world, he writes. Oh, yeah. You're shaping us. The only trouble is that the story isn't true. Yeah. Let's keep reading. Lars Magnus Ericsson and Hilda never owned a car. None of them even had a license, says Ericsson, Director of External Communications, Jimmy Duvall. He says their son, Gustav L.M. Ericsson, used to give them a lift in his car, but the car phone thing probably never happened. Duvall has no idea how this urban legend got started. Don't forget, he is the Director of External Communications. But the technique that Meerling and Jeans described was pretty standard fare for those working with telephony back in the day, back in Ericsson's day. In fact, here's where it gets very strange. I have to look this up further. In fact, Axel Bostrom, hopefully no relation to Nick Bostrom, Ericsson's successor as CEO of Ericsson, did much the same thing when he was on the road. This is a little funny. Axel B was a car lover of great proportions. Since cars in the early 1900s were not as reliable, he always had with him a phone and a cane that he could use to connect to the line, which always lay beside the road at the time. I think that's another typo, unless it's a Mandela Effect. I'm sure it's a typo. If or when the car began to strike, wrote Duvall, the stick is preserved at the Technical Museum in Stockholm. Okay, now before we get to this little last paragraph here, Axel B was a car lover of great proportions. In the early 1900s, this is actually 1910, he was thinking so far in advance that he didn't leave the house without his phone. Are you fucking kidding me? Like, in the 80s, we weren't around holding, phones, with those, we had to beg our parents for the 50-foot cord so we could, like, walk all over the place because you were stuck to a wall. We didn't take the thing off the fucking wall and bring it around with us in case we had to plug it in somewhere. But look at this shit. Oh, this and the stick being preserved. I find that hilarious. But Bostrom died in a car accident in 1909, before the arrival of Lars and Hilda's mythological car phone. So there's some truth to the myth. Take that, Apple. Okay, this is where I have a problem. If Bostrom, what's your first name, fucking Bostrom? Yeah, whatever, Axel. If Axel Bostrom was the successor as CEO, Axel Bostrom's successor did much the same thing when he was on the road. Axel B was a lover of cars. Okay, so this is it. Lars Magnus Ericsson retired in 1910. He retired, and his successor died the year before he retired? How is that possible? Maybe this should say 1919. I don't know, but Like, really? You can't die before. You can't take over when you're dead. I mean, it's not possible. Not as far as I'm aware. And, well, shit, my mother never said, Susan, grab the phone before you leave the house. And I would have said, well, which phone? The one that's hanging on the wall, or the one that's on my nightstand, or the one on your nightstand? Or should I take a cord? Do I need two cord? Do I need the telephone cord for the hand? For the mouthpiece and the earpiece? Do I need the plug in to the wall part? Is it universal? Fuck no. First cell phone I saw, I think, was 1989. Well, I'll tell you about the cell phones because, yeah, that with the Ericsson thing, it'll be hilarious. Thank you for joining me today. And yes, look at our weird thing here. I haven't really gone to see if it does anywhere else. I've only noticed it right there. Only noticed it right there. I don't know if YouTube knows about it. Anyway, everybody have the most benevolent day. And as always, if you're here from the future, welcome to the past.